Yeah, he told me,
Good evening, everyone. Just want to go over a couple of housekeeping rules right before we get started. We will be going live exactly 5 o'clock. We are on the PEG channel. We are also on 94.7.
Yes, sir.
94.7. So we will start exactly at 5. Could you please silence all of your cell phones? Put your cell phones on silent so we won't interrupt the program. Thank you. Just talked about housekeeping rules.
One minute. To the intro. Minute 30 till there.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending the Selma City State of the City address. We ask at this time that you please accept Bishop F.L. Williams up here for the invocation.
Pray with me, please. We try to come first and say thank you that we can come to you. Jesus said, whoever we ask you in his name, that he will do it, that you'll be glorified in him. So we come and ask for your blessing upon this gathering, upon this State of the City address, but Mayor, all those that are in attendance, local officials, elected officials, citizens of this city. We pray your blessing upon our city. We come against all the spirits and those things that come to divide, to separate us. We speak peace. Your peace that surpasses all understanding be upon us tonight and on this city in Jesus' name. We come against every spirit that come to hinder, to block, that come to divide, that come to cause confusion and confusion. We rebuke it now in the name of Jesus. We pray your blessing on every elected official, everyone who's serving in whatever capacity for our city. Thank you today. You still, we decree, declare that you're still Lord over the city. We decree that you're Lord over our lives, over our families, over this community. We present it to you right now. We lift it up. We lift it up to you now in the name of Jesus. Father, have your way. Direct us today. You said the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. So order our steps in your word tonight. Bless this address. Bless those that are here. Give us one mind, one spirit, one heart, one vision to move our city forward. We are careful to give you the praise and the glory and the honor. It shall be thine. It's in the master's name of Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, we do pray. And we thank you right now. Amen. Amen. And amen.
Thank you, Bishop Williams, for the invocation. We want to thank everybody in attendance today that are here present in the Convention Center to hear the city address. We also want to thank you that are listening at 94.7 and those of you that are watching us on the PEG channel on Charter Cable Channel 181. This time we will have Miss Kelly Scott. Miss Kelly Scott is a rising star in the city of Selma. She is the granddaughter of Bishop Burke and Reverend Evelyn Scott. Kelly blesses the city with a beautiful soprano voice as a member of the Selma High Choir and the World Ministry Choir. Kelly is a 17-year-old high school junior who has won several local music awards and plans to further hone her craft at the college level. It is with great honor I will introduce Miss Kelly Scott to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Ms. Scott, for that wonderful rendition of the national anthem. At this time, with no further ado, we're going to ask our Honorable Mayor Daniel Melton to come with his city address.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. If I had a voice like that, I'll be somebody. Thank you all for coming out and being a part of our annual State of the City. So let me begin again this evening, welcoming you all to the state of our city. And I want to acknowledge the many of the people who work to make progress in our city. And let me start with the members of the City Council. Please join me in giving them a hand clap, those who are here this evening. But there are so many more people here who have a critical role in our city. And I want to thank the community partners who are integral to the city's work, nonprofits, Chamber of Commerce, chamber leaders and churches, and many of you who work with us on a daily basis, and I appreciate the passion that you have for our city. I also want to acknowledge the city employees in this room. I wish I could tell you of the many stories of their successes and how they go above the call of duty to put Selma first. They take seriously the mission of finding the best solutions whenever possible to serve the people of Selma. Today we are gathered in this room for the state of our city. Over this last year, we have witnessed alternative facts, misrepresentations, factual distortions, and personal attacks. There should be no place in Selma City for such antics. For too long, everything that has been printed has not been true and factual. If you don't read the newspaper, you are uninformed. If you do read it, you are misinformed. The effect of too much information is the need to be first, and the need to be true anymore is no longer there. So the responsibility of the press is to tell the truth, not just to be first. We live in a society now that just wants to get it out there first. They don't care who it hurts, who they destroy. They don't care if it's true or not. Just say it and sell it. We live in a society that runs to social media and crucify God's creation. They are social media gangsters and small white radio stations, and they don't have a heaven or hell to put anyone in. They have gotten good at destroying the image of our city because they can't have their way or be in control of our city. Just know anything that you're practicing, you will get good at. And because you're good at it, doesn't mean you are right. God is listening, and every idle word will have to be accounted for. So let's commit this year to building a community together and not tearing one apart. Let's say no to the fake news and social media gangsters. It is true, a house divided against itself cannot stand and will not stand. So tonight I'm grateful for a new and upcoming media source, the Salem Sun, who's coming to our city to share all the story. Eleanor Roosevelt reminds us, she tells us that small mind talks about people. Average mind talk about events and party, where great minds discuss ideas. This year, let us discuss the great ideas. Selma is not just a city in the state, region, or the nation. We are an international city. Our name, Selma, originally meaning is peaceful. The name means peaceful, but it's been so contradictory to what is actually our history. Here in Selma, we have given stains to the bloodstained bridge of the civil rights movement. We have stained the fields of the Civil War. Selma has been a city that has struggled to see its future, because we continue to grapple with the ghosts of our past. A past that continues to hunt our future, a future that has great prospects and potential, but can only be recognized if we are willing to chart a new course and we're ready to rebirth the city of Selma. To chart this course and to rebirth this great city, we must be honest with ourselves about where we have been, where we are, and where we're going, and how to get there. In the 50s and 60s and 70s, Selma capitalized from having a U.S. Air Force base, which we know as Craig Field. For 37 years, pilots were trained here. At one point in history, Craig Field was one of the busiest airports in the United States and boasts a payroll of more than $30 million and spent over $3 million in services from local businesses right here in historic Selma. However, in 1977, the U.S. Air Force closed its base at Craig Field, and the economy began to experience the economic impact from $33 million being taken immediately from the local economy. So over the next 5 years, the impact was felt so greatly that local government in 1982, the mayor and city council passed a 1-cent sales tax to hire more police officers, to increase city wages, and to create a reserve account for the city of Selma in 1982. The minimum wage, I remind you at that time, was $3.35. In 1982, the city of Selma increased a 1-cent sales tax and managed to provide full public safety and public works services. At one point, there were 70 police officers in the department and over 80 employees in public works. At the turn of the century, there was a change in leadership. And under that leadership from 2000 to 2008, garbage fees were raised from $8 to $12 because garbage services were not producing enough revenue to support the services. During that period, a 5% pay raise was given to all the city employees across the board. In 2009, a new administration was elected. That administration entered office shortly after America had experienced what we call the Great Recession. Some of the first major changes that were made to keep the city financially afloat included dissolving an entire department at the time, which was known as Trust Bill. Also, salaries was reduced by 12% across the board, and city hours was reduced from 40 hours down to 35 hours a week. Later during that administration, funding became so obsolete that the administration outsourced garbage services because it had become too expensive for the city to keep services in-house, and increased sales tax about half-cent for public safety, public works, and one-time annual raises. It was soon discovered that the half-cent sales tax was insufficient to address those areas. Through 2015 and 2016, the treasurer at the time urged that administration and council to raise sales taxes by 1 cent to address the financial woes of the city. Instead, the administration and council chose to use the savings from a refinance bond to give a public safety a 10% raise across the board. This action alone put major stress on the city finances, and roughly $600,000 was added to the city expenses, but no revenue to account for it was added. So we did not get here overnight. Our municipal government and our municipal revenue crisis is not a new or recent phenomenon. The need for new revenue has been constant for years. So in the summer of 2016, we entered the race and came with a basic but bold platform of putting Selma first and moving boldly into the 21st century. Overwhelmingly, voters said yes to putting Selma first. Voters did not elect a Messiah, they elected a mayor and a minister. This administration came in as a watchman on the wall to warn the people of the things to come, to blow the trumpet loud and clear. Tonight I have come to blow the trumpet loud and clear. In November of 2016, this administration was handed a weak and fragile budget that had already been adopted by the previous council. The financials of the city quickly revealed that our expenditures were exceeding or greater than our revenues. For consecutive years here in Selma, expenses had increased as revenues remained flat. We immediately began to implement policies to bring temporary relief to the finances of the city and savings to the city finances, just to put this city first. The first thing we did was we established a no drive home policy for all non-law enforcement employees. The second thing we did was we closed down the St. James Hotel that was costing taxpayers up to $1 million a year. And just because of that decision, we're only a few weeks away from possibly selling that hotel to a major developer. The third thing we did was we stopped hiring in departmental positions that was once vacated through attrition. And fourthly, we consolidated departments and started doing more with less. It's during this time we learned that bills were not being paid in the late summer months in order to give November bonuses to city employees. For 2 years, the council was asked not to continue this practice due to the financial weakness of the city. With over $1 million in outstanding bills last year, the council ignored sound judgment and voted to give one-time bonuses, which sent the financials of the city deeper down into the valley. Good government demands that such practices are abolished and dissolved, and more accountable practices are adhered to. Because of insufficient funds and an unbalanced budget that was recently passed, 68 city employees have recently been laid off. Tonight, let me be clear. Raise the necessary revenue to bring these employees back and join with me by giving a living wage to all city employees. Let's not squander the $85,000 you've already spent with the Auburn Play Plan study. We should not have any employee working in government, and I can't stress this enough, having to be subsidized by state and federal government. That is not who we are as a city. We believe in equal pay for equal work and quality pay for quality work. From day one, I have asked the legislative branch of government to adopt sound financial policies and procedures, but that request has fallen on deaf ears. It's time that the council demand to do their job. Stop pointing fingers and start using those fingers to write financial policies. Over the last 2 years, I presented 3 budgets to the Selma City Council and have yet to have any of those 3 budgets seriously debated. The first budget was over $18 million. The second budget was $17 million with 30% cuts across the board. And the third budget was a $22 billion budget addressing all the city needs with pay increases and living wages for all city employees, including a reserve account. All 3 budgets were rejected by the council, and the recent budget handed to me is unbalanced and insufficient. Many unwarranted insults and allegations have been made about this administration's mismanagement of city finances. So let me set the record straight. Control of the city finances are a function of the city council and not the mayor's office. Since the council is responsible for a multi-million-dollar budget, I believe as elected officials, they would join me, I pray they would join me tonight in being required to present our credit scores and any wage garnishments to the general public, because I believe how you handle your personal finances will impact how you handle taxpayers' finances. The last several city audits have revealed that the city expenditures exceed revenues. Standard & Poor's credit rating also revealed that expenditures exceeded revenues. The same old cry, show me where you're cutting before you ask for more revenues, cannot continue to be the response to a demand for new revenues. You cannot cut when there is nothing left to cut. It is not new that for years, Selma has needed new revenues. All city departments are understaffed, they're underpaid, and they're underfunded. Streets are caving in and bills are not being paid timely. It is immoral and inhumane to ask city employees to make brick without straw. The appropriators must put this pettiness aside and raise new revenue so laid-off employees can return. And not only that, so laid-off employees can return and citizens can get full service and all city employees can make a living wage. It is unacceptable to have employees working for city government, again, being subsidized by the state and the federal government. It's time to pay all employees in the city of Selma a living wage. Over the last 80 years, the city of Selma has spent millions of dollars on street resurfacing and sidewalks only to have shifting soils and a failing infrastructure. That has turned our streets to obstacle courses with potholes and sinkholes. The past 2 years alone, we have repaired major sinkholes on Maple Street, Crescent Hill, J.L. Chestnut, and Oak Street. And there are other streets that are currently sinking in. With our relationship, however, with the state, we were able to resurface Borkin Street and part of Summerfield Road and build disabled ramps throughout the major streets throughout the city. But we cannot rely totally on the state to resurface and repair city streets. This year, when the state legislature convened, if you haven't seen it thus far, it's been all the Montgomery advertisement and other news cycles, that there will be a piece of legislation, a major piece of legislation, to increase gasoline tax statewide by 10 cents. This legislation, or piece of legislation, will prohibit cities from raising local gasoline taxes while shelling out new gasoline taxes to state and county projects. Now is the time for Selma to take her destiny in her own hands. I'm proposing we revisit increasing the gasoline tax before the state legislature determine our destiny for us. Why pay more gasoline tax to fix the roads outside of Selma when we are not fixing the roads inside of Selma? Imagine with me, if you will, every city street being repaid, being resurfaced, and restriped every 5 years. Imagine all the sidewalks safe to travel, and on every neighborhood, children have safe passageways to their schools. Imagine a city with me where neighborhoods and businesses are expanding because we have a strong and solid infrastructure. But let's not just imagine, let us do. Let us be willing to sacrifice for our city. The question tonight is not what your city can do for you or what City Hall can do for you. The question tonight is what can you do for your city? With the 5-cent gasoline tax increase, the average Ford tank will add only $1 per fill-up. For the average driver, that's roughly $20 a year to resurface, to repave, and to restripe all the streets in Selma on a 5-year continual basis. Many of these streets have not been resurfaced or repaved or restriped in over 20 years plus. In April of 2017, this administration pleaded with the city appropriators with a common sense solution to lease new trash trucks. During that prolonged time, it took the appropriators to vote yes, our city experienced a trash crisis. Finally, in April of 2018, the appropriators said yes, and the new lease trucks arrived, and we have created a system to keep the city and any new administration from ever getting in a position of not providing trash services. This year, I'm asking the appropriators to do more to address providing trash services for a fee. Let me add tonight that in the 1990s, the police department had 70 officers. Since that time, we have witnessed a substantial decrease. In the early 2000s, the department was reduced to 65. After 2009, we were down to 60, and there were 38 police officers at the start of this administration. And in less than 2 years, we turned that number up, increased that number up to 54 officers. The recent reduction in personnel has devastated morale as we have been unable to replace officers lost due to turnover. Additionally, the call volume per officer has increased due to the reduction in man hours. And just this past September, the council reduced 7 police departments down from 60 officers to 45 positions just to prop up an unbalanced budget. That equates to 600 less man hours dedicated to patrol per week. That's 2,400 hours a month. During this administration, a dozen police officers have been shot at. 5 patrol cars have been struck by gunfire, and 1 officer has been shot. And 60% of the patrol cars being struck by gunfire and the officer being shot, high caliber long guns have been used. Comparatively, over 50% of the homicides that we experience in this city are attributed to high caliber rifles. All of these rounds possesses high power ballistic capabilities, and no soft body in this world is capable of preventing those rounds from penetrating any human's body. This administrator has pleaded with several appropriators to purchase rifle-rated vests for its officers. To this day, the Selma City Council has failed to appropriate $1 nor 1 cent to purchase the rifle-rated ballistic body armor. Thanks to the philanthropic endeavors of local businesses in Selma and broader law enforcement agencies around Alabama, enough private money has been raised to buy 30 sets of rifle-rated plates and ballistic body armor. The equipment has been ordered and is even en route right now as I speak. Sheriff Grover Smith and the governor of Escambia County donated $5,000 to us to assist Selma in providing body armor for its officers. Escambia County is roughly 3 counties away from Dallas County. However, the check arrived within 3 days after Officer Hale had been shot, and 4 months later, Selma appropriators have still failed to appropriate any funding. Sheriff Smith is retiring as I speak. Today is his last day, but served as past president of the Alabama Sheriff's Association and worked nearly a decade with the Alabama legislature and the executive branch fighting for the rights and safety of public officers, police officers and deputy sheriffs in Alabama, and he should be commended tonight. I was briefed yesterday morning by Chief Collier while I was in church that a Birmingham police officer was fatally assaulted and another officer was severely wounded overnight. We have extended our thoughts and our prayers to the Birmingham Police Department and the officers' families, and my thoughts are also with Mayor Randall Whiffen. Nothing can prepare you as a mayor to receive that call, that one of your officers has been shot. Fortunate enough that Officer Michael Hale survived when I received the same call just a few months ago. We also pause to consider that our officers, our law enforcement officers, put their lives on the line every day just to protect us. So we stand united with Birmingham and come back from any illegal gun activities in this city. The Birmingham City Council sent a powerful message yesterday. It is my hope that Selma City Council will join me with the same spirit of cooperation. In their statement to the press, and I quote, "The Birmingham City Council stands with the law-abiding citizens, families, and victims and will cooperate with Mayor Whiffen and other law enforcement agencies to combat this senseless act of violence. The Birmingham City Council fully stands behind all the men and women of the Birmingham Police Department in their efforts to make sure justice is served," end quote. Let that same spirit also be here in Selma, where council and mayor cooperate for law enforcement. The Selma Police Department has purchased 8 patrol cars since 2012. All 8 was purchased during this administration. According to best practice in law enforcement, a police department the size of the city of Selma should on average purchase at least 6 patrol cars a year. Most vehicles in use have well in excess of over 100,000 miles. Keep that in mind, that's comparable to your vehicle, which is roughly 300,000 miles on most vehicles. This single issue alone hurts morale in our police department, rather than any other that we have at the time. This administration has presented to the council current leasing programs from all major automobile makers to lease patrol cars. In fiscal year 2018, the city of Selma spent over $100,000 in vehicle maintenance. The money has gone toward trying to keep vehicles that are not roadworthy running. By diverting, again, just half of that $100,000 to leasing new vehicles, the police department will be able to lease 6 vehicles a year with the maintenance package included. This isn't just smart government, it is common sense government. And additionally, the status of potential loss of 15 new patrol cars obtained by this administration through a USDA grant and small interest loan is the #1 question that is brought up in staff meetings. In September of this year, you heard that homework had been done, and the Selma Police Department will be receiving those cars within 60 days. 60 days have come and gone, and there are still no cars. Homework has been done. It's time to take the test. The test of raising new revenues to acquire these much-needed vehicles. Selma Police Department has a dire need and a dire necessity for technology. And in this technology, it must be updated to bring the department into the modern era of law enforcement. Intelligence-led policing is not the future of law enforcement. It is the present, and it's working. Giving police officers direct access to modern databases is essential in solving crime. Selma Police Department recently had a limited 6-month free trial, probably the nation's best open source and law enforcement sensitive databases on the market. That program was a force multiplier with 10 times the capabilities of NCIC. It allowed investigators to locate wanted suspects. They could identify every time a vehicle crossed a license plate reader, and most importantly, identify potential dangerous individuals at record speed. In addition to this program, Selma Police Department was offered 6 mobile license plate readers that could be moved when and where they were needed based on crime patterns. License plate readers have the capability to digitally read and access databases on thousands of license plates per minute. Additionally, they would have been tied to ALEA's license plate readers, which again would have been a force multiplier. The subscription to the database and 6 LPRs would cost the city roughly $1,200 a month. However, it was voted down without hesitation and with no debate in this administration's fiscal year 2019 budget proposal. Selma has to pull itself together into the modern age and install cameras at intersections. The technology alone has the single most capabilities in leading to solving crimes. However, the system must be integrated and accessible with basic IT capabilities. A hodgepodge of game cameras placed is labor intensive and ineffective. We have to think of one Selma, not individual wards, and focus our resources based on the greatest need determined by the crime data and not political gain. In the past 18 months, the Selma Police Department has partnered with state and local partners and conducted nearly 24 multi-agency anti-crime saturations. With the assistance of ALEA, Selma Police Department has begun to regularly check lounges and bars for alcohol violations. The most recent inspection netted dozens of violations at 4 bars in Selma, and this practice will continue. Additionally, Selma Police Department has entered into a partnership with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to eradicate gun crime in Selma. Alabama's gun laws, particularly in dealing with felons in possession of a firearm, is archaic and ineffective. So Selma Police Department has began meeting with ATF and the U.S. Attorney's Office every 2 weeks in an effort to identify any possible gun crime that can be prosecuted on the federal level. The system is working, and Selma Police Department is on pace to refer a record number of gun cases for federal prosecutions. Additionally, Selma Special Operation has developed partnership with the DEA that has led to dismantling one of the largest street game narcotic distributors in Selma. The leadership of DTE has been eradicated by over 24 federal indictments through a joint Selma Special Operations and DEA investigation. The State Bureau Office of Investigation, ALEA, has provided overtime, substantial manpower, resources, and aviation capabilities during these operations. A goal of this administration has been to partner with state and local agencies to collectively share information and to jointly fight crime in Selma. The goal has been met, and every major federal agency has been involved, as well as ALEA and the Alabama Attorney General's Office. This administration is proud to announce that Selma Police Department has been selected as one of the few cities in the country that has been selected to house and operate a mobile NIBIN vehicle to make processing gun crimes easier. NIBIN stands for basically National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, and it is basically the ballistic fingerprinting system used to identify weapons used in gun crimes. This equipment is a huge success for the city of Selma, and tonight that ought to be applauded in the Selma Police Department. To effectively combat crime, we must address corruption. Rumors of corruption in the police department has hurt Selma's relationship for years with other agencies. However, this administration takes corruption seriously, and it is our goal to eradicate it. Under this administration, a Selma police employee and 2 associates have been indicted and recently pled guilty to federal gun crimes stemming from police corruption. In my direction, Chief Collier personally contacted the FBI and asked for their assistance. The FBI, the ATF, and the Attorney General's Office worked tirelessly on this case. The open door invitation and request for assistance has helped rebuild the relationship between Selma and its state and federal partners. Additionally, Selma Police Department has pledged full cooperation in the recent Dallas County grand jury indictment of 3 Selma officers. The officers are entitled to due process, but if guilty of the return indictment, then let this send one more message that corruption has no place in Selma. Finally, the Selma Police Department has assisted and will continue to assist the Alabama Attorney General Office in ongoing public corruption cases involving city government. These crises have been years in the making, and we will not fix them overnight. While we must take urgent action to improve our city, lasting progress will take years. There will be times when we take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. I know there has been times when you are frustrated with City Hall and with me, but believe me, I get frustrated too. But no matter how daunting our challenges are, what I can promise you tonight is that as mayor, I will continue to push to bring common sense solutions and to move Selma boldly into the 21st century. We must all understand, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until we face it. The council cannot continue to say no to common sense solutions. The time for talk is over. It's time to get it done. A tree is known by the fruit that it bears, and not by the fruit that it talks about. It is immoral to sit idly back and stick our heads in the proverbial sand when the need is so great in our city. How much more blood and tears will mothers and fathers have to shed for the city council to do their job? How many more city services have to be cut simply for the council to do their job? How many more employees will have to be laid off for the city council to do their job? How many more businesses have to go unpaid simply again for the city council to do their job? Having temper tantrums is not a solution, it's a cop-out. We do not govern by temper tantrums. We do not govern by accusations and name-calling. Selma is more important than personalities. Small minds, again, talk about people. Average mind talks about events and parties. But great minds talk about ideas. Let me put all the cards on the table. Since day one when I asked about the city's finances, appropriators have fought change and progress. It's been 20 years since a thorough review of the financial operation of the city has been done, and that investigation led to 2 indictments and 2 convictions. So stop punishing citizens because you can't have your way or because you have your own personal agenda. Do what you have been elected to do now and stop focusing on 2020. No is not an answer to real solutions. Complaining is not an answer to real solutions. Personal attacks are not an answer to real solution. It's time for us to make common sense decisions. Either pass these sweeping changes or put other solutions on the table. Unfortunately, appropriators want to keep taking our city backwards. In my first 2 years, they have already threatened our city by failing to pay bills timely, layoffs, and cutting of services. So let me be clear tonight. When the lives of the people in Selma and the environment which we cherish here in Selma is under attack, to all those who are listening, I will never back down. I will never back down. Why? Because when doing right means standing alone, then this administration will never back down. You won't win against what is right, you won't win against common sense solutions, and you won't win against moving this city of Selma forward. Here in Selma, we don't wait for others to tell us what our future is going to look like. We don't wait for a better future to come. We fight for our future. We fought for freedom, and we won. We fought for civil rights, and we won. We are now fighting for our future. And to every naysayer tonight, I say we will win. Let it be known throughout the city, throughout the state, throughout the country. Here in Selma, we are inventing, we are creating, we are reinventing and building a more vibrant city for the future. We are literally rebuilding and reinventing and reimagining our city for the future. And it's close, it's true what you heard tonight. What you heard is true because I love this city. The city gave me meaning as a young boy. And the main reason I love this city is because the people who live here. And that we do what is right because it's part of who we are. And I know we will do the right thing and build a more vibrant and inclusive future. Will it be easy? No. It will take grit, take hard work, and it will take a willingness to try new things, to innovate, and to really understand what is working and what is failing us. Above all, it will take all of us working together, knowing that we can be better and asking how we can do it better. Change is painful. Growth is very painful. But what is more painful is staying in a place where you don't belong. And Selma, you don't belong in the past. It's time that you take up your bootstraps and move boldly into the 21st century. We have not been elected to maintain business as usual, but to challenge the status quo and to move Queen City forward into a brighter future. Dr. King reminds us that the measure of true leadership is not where you stand during times of comfort and convenience, but it's where you stand during times of challenge and controversy. We cannot afford to sit idly by and allow the politics of division hinder us or stop our progress. It is time we take a stand when it comes to tough issues and make bold and unwavering decisions to do that which is right for our city. Know this, Selma, I will bet on you every single time. That every time I will stand with you and I will work with you to realize a future for our children and the one that they deserve. So let's resolve together that this year in 2019, the mayor has been beat up, misled, he has been given false information about what he's doing. We've crucified the mayor for 2 years, and where have it gotten us? Nowhere. It's time for us to work together. So let us resolve together that this year we can look each other in the eye and say the state of our city looks brighter. The state of our city is even stronger. That life for all who call Selma home is better because of our resolve, because of our actions, and because of our love for each other. Let's move this city boldly into the 21st century. If you can't say anything good, which I always say on our radio show, if you can't say anything good about the city of Selma, don't say anything at all. I truly believe, except God build this city, our labor will be in vain. So let's be the Christians that we say that we are. Let's not destroy each other with the words of our mouths, because with the words of our mouths, we are destroying God's creation. So tonight, I say to you, Selma, let's put 2017, 2018 behind us, and let's do real work to move this city forward. I can't do it by myself. The council can't do it by themselves. If it'll work that way, we have already done it. Now it's time for us to put our differences aside to move this city forward, to restore the trust back in the citizens, because they are counting on us just as much as we are counting on them. I can't do it without you. You can't do it without me. But what I promise you, I'm going to give you 100% all the way. I need you to meet me there too, because together we can build this city and we can remove us from the ghost of the past. I want to thank you all so much for coming out tonight. The state of our city, we have challenges, we have crises, but you can rest assured that together, I believe that we can redeem the soul of this city and move her boldly into the 21st century. And again, it won't happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight. We didn't get here overnight. We got here based off decisions that should have been made 20 and 30 years ago. But you finally elected a mayor who said no to the politics of division. It's not just East Selma or West Selma or North Selma or South Selma. We're all Selma. There's no black Selma, no white Selma, no old Selma, no young Selma. We're all Selmians. Regardless of our differences, regardless of our philosophy differences, regardless of our politics, we're all one Selma. When Ward 1 hurts, Ward 8 hurts. When Ward 8 hurts, Ward 2 hurts. We are all one city. Christ made it even simple. He said we're one body. That we're one, we come from one blood. There may be many members inside of the body, but we're only one body. And that message needs to be heard loud and clear. How can the hand say to the foot, I don't need you? City Council, I say this loud and clear to you tonight. I need you. I can't do this without you. I say this to all the citizens who continue to disparage our city. I need you even more, because without your support, Selma's future is hanging in the balance. We need each other more than we realize. So let's not run to social media. Let's not run to the radio. Let's not run to the paper. Let us run towards each other. Because when we run towards each other, I think it's there where we find Christ. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together, that's where we find Christ in the midst of us. For it is where there's unity where God commands the blessing. Wherever there's unity, there will be blessing. Let the blessings of the Lord be rich inside the city of Selma. Because we are going to unify this city. Through sweat and tears, we'll be unified. Through blood, through crawling, through scratching, we will be unified. Whatever it takes to unify this city, that's what we're going to do. I made an agreement with you tonight. I made a commitment to you tonight. Again, I'm being as transparent as possibly can be. Everything has to change. And if we don't change, what message are we sending to our children? If we don't make tough decisions, that's what leadership is about. It's about making tough decisions for the future. And if you're not willing to make those tough decisions, then we need to be leaders enough to say, I can't make that tough decision. You elected us to make tough decisions. Will you agree with our decisions? No, you won't. But you believe that we will do what's right for this city. So give us the grace to make those decisions. Give us the opportunity to make the tough decisions for the city of Selma. And give us the opportunity to, once and for all, have something that we're asked for. This is our 3rd year we're going into office. And to this day, we have not had a budget yet that you voted for. 61% of you voted for the platform which we put out there. Here it is 2 years later, we have yet to have a budget to implement that platform. So before you criticize, give us the opportunity to do that which you voted for. I promise you, if you give us the resources that we need, you will see better streets and better neighborhoods inside the city of Selma. You will see more officers inside your different neighborhoods. There's no way we can send 45 officers who don't work on the same shift to all 8 wards and have 3 officers in all 8 wards unless we get to a point where we have 70 officers. I know it's challenging. I know it sounds rough. And let me say this for the record. I want to personally apologize to all department heads who have continually taken on many insults and assaults because of their commitment to the vision that I have for the city of Selma. You didn't sign up to be attacked. You are a department head and not an elected official. You didn't run for office, but you decided to join me because you believed in the vision that we have for this city. You decided to come on board and say, Mayor, I want to be a part of that, what you're doing in the city of Selma. And in the midst of these 2 years, you have undeservedly received many hits, many attacks. Many of you have been scandalized, you've been drawn through the waters and through the mud. Your family has experienced attacks because of me. I understand and I appreciate the commitment that you have to this city and to the vision that we have, that you stayed on and you held on. I appreciate that because it takes tough leaders to deal with things that they don't have to deal with. Was it not Peter when they came and said to Jesus, they said, surely you are one of them. And Peter said, I don't know the man. But they said, Peter, you sound like the mayor. You're saying the same thing the mayor is saying because you believe in the vision that we have for this city. So I want to say to all department heads tonight, thank you for being committed to the vision that we have for the city of Selma. Without you, this would be impossible. But I also want to say to my council members, we came in and we started on a good track. The marriage was working well. Somewhere in the midst of this marriage, misinformation was given out and it caused the council and the mayor to have a strange relationship. A strange relationship dealt around the finances. And anybody know in any marriage, finances are one of the issues that will destroy marriage. And so it's around finances. Let's not let one individual destroy this city. Selma is bigger than the mayor's office, bigger than the council chambers, bigger than the finance department. It's bigger than one single employee. It's time for us to get our act in order and say that we're going to clean this city up if it means hurt some people. When I say hurt them, no, not hurting them physically. It means hurt people there because they can't have their way. If their feelings are hurt, we're not here for feelings. We're here to save a whole generation. Our children are leaving here, leaps and bounds every day. And the reality is they won't return if they continue to see what is going on in this city. You want your children to grow up in Selma. I would love for my kids to have the opportunity to return to Selma like I did. But if we don't get our act together, if we don't do what is right for the city of Selma, then we'll lose a whole generation never to return back home. They don't have to return, but if they want to, that's the environment that we have to create. So let's be that Selma. Let's say we're going to create an environment where the next generation say, I can't wait to get back home. That I want to be a part of the great things that they're doing inside that city. What I can promise you is that we're going to be held accountable for every single thing that we do. If I'm wrong, let the Lord deal with me. It's not for us to cast judgment on each other. It's for us to work together and find common ground. And I believe tonight that we can find common ground. I make a commitment to you, and I say this to you. You hear people say all the time, Mayor, why don't you come to council meeting? Well, you're here, those who are live listening to us, those who's on the radio, and those who's watching on TV. Let me say this to you. If the council want to talk business, Mayor Melton is there. I'm not going to bring my department heads nor myself subjected to personal attacks. I'll meet you where you want to meet me. This is no separation, but it's time for us to put away the childish things. Paul said when I was a child, I thought I was a child, but when I became a man, I began to act like a man. It's time for us to move away from the pettiness and grow up. Get the personal feelings out the way. Get the personality issues out the way. You don't never have to like each other, but you got to work together. We've been voted to work together. You don't have to never like Mayor Melton personality, but you have to respect the mayor's office, and the mayor has to respect the council. I know the council members, and I say this from the depth of my heart, I know you have tough decisions to make. I don't take that lightly. I'm just not asking you to make a decision to put pressure on you. I know you have these tough decisions to make. But I believe that the Lord wouldn't have allowed you to be in the position that you're in if you didn't have it inside of you to make those tough decisions. So let's commit to say, well, no, the mayor is not trying to make us look bad, or I share the blame with you. I'm the one who's asking you to make these decisions. So if you need someone to blame the mayor for those decisions. I'm asking you to make these tough decisions. Not for the sake of the mayor, but for the sake of self. And Selma is counting on us just as much, again, as we're counting on the city. So as I end this state of the city, I would like to say to you, yes, there's challenges, there's crisis. But tonight, I'm happy. And I'm happy because there's a resolve in my heart to know that I myself as mayor and the city council is willing to put their differences aside. I haven't asked them right now, but I just believe in my heart that they're willing to put their differences aside to move this city forward inside the 21st century. And you as a citizen of this city, if you see me or any council member not being committed to what we say we'll do tonight, you call us out. You mark the person who sowed discord, because it won't be coming from the mayor's office. We will continue to work together to build a city. You elected me to serve for 4 years, and that's what I'm going to do. But I need your commitment. God bless everybody who came out tonight. I thank you for giving us the opportunity. And for these next 2 years, let's work together. Let's not destroy a city together, but let us build a city together. That city that's set on top of a hill, which is light cannot be put out. And Selma, your light is going to shine. It's going to shine. God bless you, and God keep you is my prayer. Again, thank you all for coming out. Have a blessed evening.
Thank everyone for coming to the State of City address.